liked that.
That makes one of us.
Oh,
Why didn't you like it?
I don't know.
You don't
just
like
something
his
about the
dulcet
eye
tones?
contact.
I didn't even look at you. The lack of eye contact. You're like, why didn't you talk to me, old Seeksy?
oh,
Is that what it was?
I said eye contact.
Is he the Franny this time, or because I mean, makes sense why you'd
The
eye contact
Franny?
with
Is that
him.
what we're gonna refer to it as from now on? Are you a Franny or a Logan?
Are
you know what
a
I'm
Franny
saying?
or a Logan?
And what's great is like, who knows what that really even means. All right. Anyway, guys, we are a cinema podcast. And basically we're here with our boy Zane.
Hello.
And just like before, we picked out One Piece as his favorite show. Although I don't know which one's going to come first, so I guess I shouldn't say that. We did his favorite show paired with a similar property.
Yeah.
And now we're doing one of his favorite movies with a similar property. And let me tell you something about these movies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to describe them both right now to you.
Okay. This is your theater. This is like your elevator pitch.
This movie could be about either or. This movie is a game of cat and mouse where everyone lies on their resume.
Yeah.
Correct on both ends.
True.
Fuck.
Should we start with Tom and Jerry? I feel like that's kind of the move, right? We should start. We should get that shit out of the way. Do we have the Wikipedia pulled up?
Yeah.
So
It will be in just one moment, I suppose.
well, I had it pulled up.
Oh, that's good. Okay,
Oh.
cool. Then one moment indeed.
Tom and Jerry is a 2021. Geez, that's a weird number to say. 2021 American live action animated slapstick comedy film based on the titular cartoon characters of the same name, created by Willem Hanna and Joseph Barbera.
Yeah, Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. Produced by the Warner Animation Group and distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. It is the second theatrical film based on and third to animate them in the real world, following Anchors Away and Dangerous When Wet. The film's story follows Tom enlisted to get rid of Jerry before his presence threatens New York City's fanciest hotel and its planned wedding.
Okay. Wow. This was fucking terrible. All right. Let me start at the top here with this statement that I think is something that you guys are going to so agree with, but maybe you guys didn't think about. Every scene with this CG or whatever you want to call it, this cartooned cat and mouse, they don't talk. So they're kind of boring. So the option is when they're not fighting, but they're on screen for any reason by themselves, pop music plays over and over and over again. And it's not even good pop music. Some of it is super relevant. Some of it is old and weird. And some of it is unheard of, like weird, like fucking generic pop music. But there's always something where it's like, he's setting up in the hotel. It's like, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
And it's sung by a pigeon.
And Michael Pena, whatever your name is. Just stop. Just like, I understand, like this movie probably paid you a lot, but your reputation is on ice for me already. Don't do another project like this. Don't make me condemn you forever. Don't make me like actually say I won't see a movie because you're in it. Because I gotta tell you, between this and Fantasy Island, you're starting to piss me off. This was terrible. And he was terrible in it. Okay, what'd you guys think? Sorry.
So as far as Michael Pena, I feel like in the beginning, he always plays the same character. It's always just like something that he does where he's just like, it's like a pseudo straight man where it's like, oh, I'm really fucking weird, but I'm playing it as though like I'm being perfectly normal and you're the crazy one. So it's like, it's this weird thing that he does that it's like, but it's just the same thing always. And when it first began, I was like, oh, hey, like these jokes are landing at least better than the other like bad jokes that were happening in the beginning. And then as like the story develops, like it just gets worse and worse.
Correct. Also, make sure your mic's covering your face a little bit better. But yeah, correct. That is exactly what I'm getting. And there's like another thing that kind of frustrates me about the movie, and it's a reason that I like it. And it's
Oh.
Colin Jost is just so fucking charming.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, man.
He's so
He's a
charismatic.
charm factory.
Yeah.
I get why ScarJo just was like, yeah, sure. I'll marry so below me. No offense, Colin. But like he is just so fucking charming.
Yeah.
And he's saying dialogue I don't care about. He's being a character that like, okay, so this character has to be frustrated in the movie and be domineering. But in order for the plot to like him, because nobody wants a domineering, bossy man character in movies anymore, which I kind of almost agree with, they had to make him like utterly too likable. And then I just don't believe that he would, like when they actually do have an argument, I just wouldn't believe he would go there. He's just such a nice guy that it seems ridiculous that he would be so petty over certain things. So that's the problem, is they made him so likable that his character doesn't make any sense.
He almost feels like the celebrity character, like the character that they were making him out to be in media, where it's like, oh, the sweethearts, but that's like actually how his character is.
He really was that way.
It's
Like
that's who he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, there's so many problems with this movie. I have so many notes, but I'll let you guys speak a little bit. I feel like I'm hogging the mic a little bit. Cody, what were your thoughts?
So this movie already had something going against it for me. And that is Chloe Grace Moretz. I'm sorry. Like, Chloe, if you're watching this, I'm sure you're like a great person. Go you. I hate your fucking guts. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is about Chloe Grace Moretz, but she has this like quality where I feel like that's the
wife.
That's Kayla, the lead character.
Oh, that's her name?
Chloe Grace Moretz. She was in Kick-Ass.
That's why I knew her.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just assumed,
Oh yeah, we
like,
might
not
start.
Dakota Fanning.
We might start a new segment called "Is It Dakota Fanning" with Zane
No, it's
Shoemaker, and we just give him characters in media and be like, "Is it played by Dakota Fanning?"
And I said it's all Gwyneth Paltrow. He thought it was Bridge to Terabithia. He thought that was
also not Dakota Fanning.
It was not Dakota Fanning.
Sure. At least was that
It's
Square
Anna
Jaw?
Sophia Robb. That was like my childhood crush besides Hilary Duff. I would know.
The boy in that. That's
That's
Josh
also not
Hutcherson.
Dakota Fanning.
no.
He grew up around here. Josh Hutcherson. My
Yeah.
mom used to do his banking.
Weird.
Yeah. Is that crazy?
Celebrity. Anyway,
she has this quality about her where I want her to stop talking. I'm sorry.
my question is though that this is a critique of hers. Did you know that?
Is it
That
really?
people say that she's very unlikable.
Is it?
Did you know? Okay, it was during Carrie, what they Carrie remake with Anson Elgort and her, and a press manager for her said something that I think fucked her whole career in response to this. You probably don't even know this story.
No.
So everybody's
fair,
like,
I don't follow her.
you know,
career,
why
so.
do you think that even though she plays this character in Carrie, like, why do people still like? Why does the internet and the small group on the internet hate her so much? And they just go, and this guy says, well, they wish they could be her. Not a great response. And I feel like for you, definitely not true.
Yeah.
maybe the money, but other than that,
okay. Yeah, I'd be her. I'd trade 100. No, I don't know what it is. I think it's like the idea that I can totally see through this, and the fact that like I can see how much more cynical you are than this role. And I think that's what eats me alive about her, is like I can see her through every role she plays. And that's not a quality I'm looking for.
oh, you know,
Like
I
she
almost
doesn't
get what you're
disappear
saying.
into the role.
I almost
She
get what you're
never fully
saying.
disappears.
I kind of think that her as Hit Girl was always like decent, but at the same time,
She was really young.
she was
though.
younger. She was less shaded, I'm sure.
I agree.
But I remember I saw The Fifth Wave with her, and it was unfucking unwatchable, dude. So
Another one
bad.
is, I think, Before I Fall. It's like a YA thing where I think she dies.
I love that if there's a YA film out there, there's a good chance that you've seen it, and
Yeah,
you're like
probably.
you're like a resident expert.
Probably.
I have seen 0 YA films aside from Twilight, which I was forced to by
Oh.
my wife. So
I don't think I've seen all the Twilight films.
really,
Yeah, I
that
think
could be a
so.
fun little trip for us. Did you guys also feel like Jerry was queer baiting the whole time? There's multiple times where he'll be trying to like Tom will be trying to hit him with something and he'll dodge it, and then he'll do like a little fucking
The
mouse
little
ass
butt
pose.
wiggle?
He's
Little-
queer baiting this whole movie, and I find that despicable
He's a
too.
power bottom. I don't know. I just felt like I think another thing I hated about this was, at least in the cartoon, Jerry was likable.
That's true. And this, he's such a fucking cock.
He's a little bitch.
Yeah.
And I hate him.
And then like, so there's a scene where, okay, so the plot is this girl fucking loses this, like, what is she, like a personal trainer or something
Something like
job? And she, by the way, she was horrible to her former employer. That was not the way she talked to somebody. That dude was being pretty respectful, all things considered. I've had some bad employers that are not that patient, but whatever. So she gets this, she like takes a resume of another person, very, you know, Catch Me If You Can style, like takes a resume.
The way that she like takes the resume, the girl that she goes to talk to is just like a huge bitch for literally no reason other than the script was just like,
we need you to not
that.
like her.
Because literally, like, they're
Well,
just
that-
having
exactly
a
that.
normal ass conversation.
That's why she's a bitch though, because
Yeah.
you need to not be angry that she stole her resume.
Yeah.
But then she comes back at the end and they're like, oh, hey, don't you
But
feel bad for this
lessons-
character?
Lessons learned. And also her identity was stolen and she deserved the job, whether she was mean to this bitch or not.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Like, no offense, but who is this bitch to get in her face and be like, do you know if they're hiring? I'm going to try to go for your job. It's like, well, you're kind of trashy and just sort of came in the lobby and eating free mints. So I'm going to talk shit to you right now since you're bothering me.
Did you guys see the post-credit scene?
No,
No. As soon as the credits started to roll, I'm like,
I have tons of
God.
notes about the mid movie
it.
too. Like, what happened in the end credit scene? I want to know.
The end credit scene is Colin Jost. Is it Yost? Jost?
It's just
Jost. And then the two managers, Michael Pena, and then I don't remember the other guy's name with the mustache.
I don't know, but he was terrible too.
Yeah, he's pretty bad. But the end is Colin Jost going up to them and saying, "So you're charging me for both weddings?" And Mustachio guy is like, "Yeah, it's not looking good for you." And that's the post credit scene.
Well,
That's
fair.
the post credit.
That's fair, but it should have happened in the movie. I think it'd be fucked up if that rich guy was like, "Oh, I had a whole shit show at your hotel. I'm not paying for any of that."
I mean, true, but like it was like 10 seconds.
Yeah, no, there needed to be no end credit scene
Yeah.
at all.
So they're trying to start their own Tom and Jerry multiverse. and
They're
I'm
not.
into
They're
it.
not. I think that was just a meme. I don't think they're trying. I think they might
We'll
want to
see.
do a sequel, but
We'll see.
I don't think it's a multiverse. I just think there's not enough characters. Maybe if they do a Hanna-Barbera
I was gonna
multiverse.
say it'd be like a Hanna-Barbera thing.
But the thing is, they don't have the Scooby-Doo stuff, and you know, there's not really like, what are they gonna have? That fucking buggy that talks to people.
I
Hey
was
guys,
literally just about to ask what that buggy is called.
that's the only other. And the shark that plays the fucking drums. Yeah, what a great film franchise with the Pussycats, right? Is that what the name? What was the name
So
of
the Pussycats are
It's like
part
Josie and the
of
Pussycats,
Josie
right?
and the
Yeah, but
Pussycats.
that's from Archie.
Yeah, I know,
that's
but
part of the-
Hanna-Barbera did a cartoon.
Yeah, but they brought in, I think they did like a crossover with the Archie universe
Mhm.
because that's why like the
Hmm.
Pussycats are in the
Show,
Buggy
yeah, I
show.
know, but if
Yeah.
they were gonna
Yeah.
try to do like a live action thing, do you think that they would have a hot girl band playing with a cartoon shark? Because that would be great on acid.
It would
Anyway,
be Left Shark and Katy Perry.
I feel like that would be like late term Sabrina. That shit would show up
mhm.
because that's they've done Riverdale, then they're bringing in Sabrina, and Josie is
Well, they already
in
did
Sabrina.
Sabrina. It's on Netflix.
Sabrina's
Yeah, I know.
Chilling Adventures, right?
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
no, I know that, but I'm saying like if they continued it, like
Oh.
Sabrina would have to be the one that brings in the shark.
I think
'cause
it got
otherwise,
canceled. So
yeah,
Well, also, you keep saying it like the TV universe and the movie universe have to be the same thing. If they're really
Fair.
working on a connected universe, they can have their own, like, you know, pussies, if you will, and their own
Mhm.
shark. So they could quote me on this later. They can have their own pussy. Anyway, I want to mention the wedding scene. They intercut. Oh no, sorry, the engagement scene. No, it was they intersected a pivotal scene for like a marriage scene, right?
Mhm.
With the dog quite literally shitting at this wedding.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They were like, sweet moment. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Are we kidding? Even for a kids movie, are we fucking kidding right now?
bro.
Is this
It-
real?
The poop jokes, the fart jokes, all the other random shit. Like when Michael Pena is like when she's like, "Oh, is that head of aquatic affairs?"
Bro,
Pointing to the fish.
I was about to read this
And
note.
he's
Listen
like,
to this
he's like,
note.
"Yo, that's a fish."
Listen
And
to
I'm
this
like,
note.
that
Michael
legit-
Pena, I wrote this note. Michael Pena either believes she genuinely thought a fish was in charge of aquatics, or she actually did believe that fish was in charge of aquatics. This is bad movie making. Kill me. That's what I wrote.
But
I also said, how'd she get a job without an ID? How'd she get paid without a social security number?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's tons of terrible gender bias jokes, obviously. The money in the mouse trap though scene where like she left her trap. I'm like, that was kind of gangster.
Yeah.
This leaves like, thanks for the cheese, bitch. Like Jerry has moments in this where he's almost charming, but the movie's so bad, there's no chance.
Yeah.
Okay, let me look at some of these other notes here. I got plenty to say.
Mm-hmm.
They're kaijus.
Yeah.
They're kaijus. Do we agree?
So actually, I had an interesting
Because
take.
They can even inflate their size and become like gigantic, and they can pull hammers
I was
out of their
envisioning
ass.
his balloon finger thing.
So my big
That was
thing
something I
with
wish I could
it,
forget.
exactly like kaijus, because the studios think that nobody's going to watch a movie about Tom trying to fight Jerry, like that, where that's just the movie. The same way they won't just make Godzilla breaking shit. They're like, we got to put some humans in there and give it some weird subplot.
Oh, you think
And
that's
it's
the
like-
reason? No, they would like if people would actually pay to see that. The problem is it'd be way too expensive just to have a whole movie where they fight each other. That's all there is. That's the reason why they do it. Like, are we really going to spend all this money to animate an entire fucking Tom and Jerry movie? Or can we just put it in live action, put some stars in it, and draw some people in there, like, or draw some
And I
cats
hate
and
the
dogs in there?
fact that Kim Jong was on it. 'Cause I'm like,
that makes me
That's
wonder
fitting.
where his career was at. I
Yeah.
was like,
His career's
are you
bad.
okay?
It's bad right now.
That's so
It's bad.
sad. I love Kim Jong.
He's,
Yeah, like-
he's lost my respect since Crazy Rich Asians. Every decision he made after that, Crazy Rich Asians was great. Every decision he's done after that's been bad.
I liked him in The Duff.
The dumb, ugly, fat friend.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that. We should do it for the pod.
I actually like it.
I wrote, can't help it. Colin Jost is charming. Tom singing made me want to kill myself when he
Yeah.
was on the piano.
just like random. It's like, oh, he doesn't
Can't
talk,
but
and
he can
then
sing.
they're like, hey, listen to his weird auto-tune voice that's now
Oh.
here. And I'm
Michael
like, "Fucking stop.
Michael Pena was fired because Tom is an employee. He has a name tag.
True.
Roger Rabbit ran so this movie could crawl. I can see. Oh yeah, I can see the business calculations of
And I
this
love that it
film.
has ScarJo too.
Yes,
That's even funnier.
it's true though. I can see the business calculations of this film. They made the prince like a super nice guy, like we talked about.
Yeah.
And then also just like definitive like moments, like there's trailer moments they orchestrate where it's like, we're gonna have a scene where he walks this dog and picks up shit. But really it has nothing to do with what the plot's gonna be until he's back in the hotel anyway.
That must have been the driest shit too, because there was no residue on the ground.
No.
No.
Well, they couldn't animate that. That'd be too much.
Poor
That'd be too
dog.
much work.
He needs to eat some like pumpkin or something.
Yeah. It was bad. It was really bad.
I liked the wife though, Colin Jost's love interest.
No.
I thought she was okay.
Everybody was bad with Colin. That's my final opinion.
Yes, but like comparatively, she wasn't that bad.
She didn't exactly have much to do for being one of the female leads.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, she was like, I lost my ring 40 minutes later. I don't know about this wedding. Another 10 minutes later. Sure.
Yeah.
End of character. End of character arc. And then the
And
let's
that's
go out on the town scene with Tom and Jerry. And then he catches that that entire sequence exists solely so people aren't like saying this is not a Tom and Jerry movie.
Yeah.
Like that sequence exists to have more scenes with them in it. It basically, because if you eliminate it and you just make it to where they fought inside the hotel, none of the plot changes.
Yeah, I agree.
Other than Michael Pena having something to do with it, which could easily have been orchestrated so much better than what they did. Than them going to a baseball game.
Basically, it just didn't need to be a Tom and Jerry movie. They made a shitty rom-com and then they made it Tom and Jerry.
Absolutely.
Kind of, yeah.
And like there really isn't. I can't even think of a gag that made me laugh really hard. Can't think of a scene that is super memorable other than, like the fucking fish scene with Michael Pena because it was so bad. I honestly feel like this is one of the worst like live action adaptation things I've seen in a while. This like ranks slightly above Woody the Woodpecker, but definitely well below Sonic.
I will say something I liked about it.
Where in comparison to, well, Howard the Duck wasn't actually animated.
Howard the Duck is better than this movie. I can give you reasons why. The duck fucks somebody. That's novel. Where else are you going to see that? Maybe Guillermo del Toro will make a movie about fucking ducks just like he did Fish. But until then, you got one movie. Enjoy it.
I don't want it.
Anyway, what I will say I liked about it was that they were consistent. All of the animals were animated. That was cool. I liked
Which
the
I
art style.
hated.
I can say.
I liked the elephants. I thought it was cool that they found a way to fit in one other thing. I do think it's weird for a man to order elephants for an Indian style wedding when he's the Caucasian one.
I agree. 100%.
But is that supposed to be why he did it? Where he's like, oh, I want it to be.
Yeah, but if that's the case, then it's even more racist than we thought.
Yeah.
So I want to give it the benefit of the doubt because this is so appalling. I want it to not be as bad as it really is. Because I cannot say it's worse than Woody the Woodpecker, even if it's more racist because of how bad Woody the Woodpecker is. But it is near that bad.
All of the alley cats, they were like, we want you to talk with like a real heavy like accent on everything that you say to make people like think of basically gangbangers.
Yeah, what was with the fucking prison scene?
Yeah.
What was with that, bro?
There's like all of a sudden they're like, and I'm like,
oh my god, what is this fucking Shawshank Redemption? Fucking Andy Dufresne.
It's like if the band One Direction was found in New Jersey. That's what the Alley Cats were. I want to say
he's blown away by that. you startled Zane. He was like, "What the fuck does that even mean?"
So one of the things that I hated was I didn't understand why they were like trying to push this like Tom fucking loves the piano. Like,
oh yeah,
why?
Because he's played the piano a lot in the animation.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but just like
no, that's totally it. The fact that you didn't know that
a callback.
Well, it's perfect example. It's a bad callback because you didn't. You know what? We're going to a different pod. But my point exactly. This callback and this reference is shit. Because you as an audience member probably don't understand, and there's no history on the screen about it. It's just a dumb thing that randomly happened that goes unexplained for an undiscernible amount of time.
And I guess maybe for the people who know that, it might be exciting to see like, oh hey,
I would love to meet who's excited about this. And honestly, if you are, tell us what we got wrong about it. Because
there might be some super fans out there that are like,
I'm usually pretty good about finding a positive. And I'm telling you, dude, like,
is rough.
There's not a lot.
It's birds. It's like Birds in Disguise, but worse.
Colin Jost is cute.
Colin Jost is so charming. Oh,
he's a good guy.
He's just a little charm boat. He's got the little dimple smile, you know, just a charm boat. So if you want to fap to Colin Jost, just watch SNL and skip the movie.
Retweet. What would you rate it?
You go first.
1. Because of Colin Jost, it didn't get a 0. It's a 1.
Can you give a 0?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you can give a 0 if it's
I can give a
unwatchable.
negative something if I want to.
I'll say this. For me, ones have to be so bad. I'm explaining this so you understand how bad it is. Ones have to be so bad that they are insulting to somebody in a real way. Like they actually have real life effects of how disparagingly horrible they are in depictions. And this falls under that. So it's a 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
Rare thing to be seen.
He's like 7.
Oh, and the whole movie ends with a rap.
Oh.
I'm just trying to think of if there was any point in time in which I enjoyed the.
You like texting us about it, like this sucks. That was fun for you, right? Being like sharing, commiserating. We have to watch dumb shit like this all the time.
Yeah, I'm literally sitting here and I'm like, come on, give me something that was redeeming. One thing that actively made me laugh was when Colin Jost, like almost under his breath, was like with the dog. He's like, oh yeah, there are a lot of people say he's pretty animated, and just like says it like real like low, so the like audio only barely picks it up. And I'm like, you motherfucker. Like that made me giggle a little bit. Other than that,
I like when he called it disgusting. When he said he's disgusting, I'm like, I agree. I didn't laugh, but I was like, you're right. This dog's disgusting.
I don't think I smiled during the whole thing, if that says anything.
Well, you hate Chloe Grace Moretz so much. This movie stood
but
no
I
chance.
love Colin Jost.
You love him more than you hate Chloe Grace Moretz?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Okay, that's true.
You fucking bullshitter.
I just like I feel bad. I don't want her to be like
What if she
another person hates me.
she reaches out and she's just like, "Can we be friends?" You just publicly go, "No, not a chance." Is that what you're gonna do, or would you be like, "Let's be friends"?
I'd try. I feel like everyone's worth a friendship unless they're like a murderer or a terrorist. And I feel like this terrorized my joy, but that's about it. What would you rate it, Zane?
I'm gonna go with a 2 out of 10 just because I feel bad for it. Because you guys are fucking like I thought I was gonna tear into it, and you guys are like, "This is why I hate Michael Pena."
I mean,
This is why I hate
it's quite
Chloe.
literally racist.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And like for me, that's when like unless it works contextually, and you're like, this character is supposed to be racist for a plot relevancy and a character development, or this moment is supposed to be a callback to like later on they will show you that this was wrong. Yeah. But no, it's played for laughs, and it's really weird and very like just they pretty much did. I honest to God believe that his wife was a traditional Indian wedding, not because of the character of his wife, but because they wanted to find a way to put the elephants in the movie. And that's where you lose me.
I don't think you're wrong. So
all right. Well. Now who would we fuck? Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to say who we are. Colin Jost. Jerry.
Because he's a little bottom boy.
Is it the sass? Is it the fact that he acts like an e-boy?
He just turned around and he wiggled that ass.
He fucking poses. He'll be like miss something and he'll be like, and then he'll do whatever else. He does it the whole time.
I feel like the movie wants like I feel like the movie sets it up to where it's like your answer should be the white cat. It's like, why are we spending so much time on this fucking white cat? Like, I don't want you guys to try to make it fuckable. Like, leave it alone.
Yeah, that's all.
Actually, what I wish would have happened is that there's this white cat, like who's with them, who clearly is better at hunting Jerry. It would have been funny if she just like caught Jerry, no problem. Like the one scene where they had like an altercation, he was actually in fear of his life.
Yep.
Yeah.
But with Tom, he's like this fucking dumb, fucking stupid ass.
Actually, twice, because there was one where like she caught him in like the vent, and then there was the one from the drone.
But I mean, if you're gonna have this character exist and just be, and I quote, like a beautiful white cat, I hate that. Cat, she's basically the sex appeal of the movie. Very strange. If you're gonna do that, can we actually have some character too? Like the dog as well is just like he's just some brute who's an asshole. Great, love it. It's awesome. So happy he's in the story. Let's move on.
Yeah, we'll see you with Catch Me If You Can.
Whoa, aren't movies so cool and quirky? Hey guys, it's CL from A Cinema Podcast, and we just wanted to come on and share that we have some side projects we'd like you to check out. There's Average Joe interviews over on youtube.com/Logan Tyler. There's my album Scorpio, which is linked in the bio below. And I make Critical Role content on my channel, youtube.com/CLBlueOfficial. Please subscribe. And yeah, stay tuned for our future movie and television podcasts. We'll see you soon.
And we're back, kids. What are we talking about, Zane?
I believe we're talking about Catch Me If You Can.
Okay.
Should I read the synopsis? Is that what you were setting up? Oh God.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm new at this. I'm sorry.
Well, just if you know it, just tell it. You don't have to read it. You gotta just be quick about it.
No, read it.
Yeah, read it. But I mean,
Catch Me If You Can is a 2002 American biographical crime film directed and produced by Steven Spielberg from a screenplay by Jonathan Nathanson and starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, Christopher Walken, Martin Sheen, and Natalie Bea.
Guys, we're talking about the GOAT today. We're talking about Spielberg, the man that makes movies feel like movies, the great director of West Side Story, Jaws, Indiana Jones. And this is his take on a bit of a crime thriller, a cat and mouse game of his own. And this movie is amazing. And it always has been. This is definitely one of my top for Leo. I don't know if it's my favorite movie by him that he's in, but this is like one of the earlier, better performances of his career.
So I think one of the big things that makes me love this film so much and why I wanted to do it with you guys was because this is what I consider my favorite film. Now, do I think it's the best film ever made? No, but it's my favorite. It's the most fun I have experiencing a story. And I feel like this is one of the ones that Spielberg does that is just like, he does some amazing ones that are like, it's very dynamic and stuff is crazy and everything. This is like, there's not a lot of like crazy production things that happen. Like there's the scene at the end where he's printing the checks, but other than that, there's not big
there.
crazy...
Don't forget that CG money, my dude.
Yeah, but
that CG money was a huge deal at the time.
But that's just like them cutting up a whole bunch of like, they just basically, I'm saying that it's not like a Jaws where they had to make the whole robotic shark. And
yeah, definitely.
And like but it's just like, it's a fun little romp where you just get to kind of escape for a little bit and just go have fun. And it's like, oh, this guy, like, he's just going out into the world and look at the crazy stuff he's doing.
I was once asked to pitch for, we were in a film studies class, and they asked to pitch, like, what's a Spielberg movie you turn into a TV show? And I said at the time, I would love a procedural where it's a post Catch Me If You Can Frank Abagnale helping the FBI, and in every episode he's helping them catch a new fraudulent character.
And that's the show White Collar.
Yeah, I know. But
I didn't know. Cody, did you know about White Collar?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Another one of my favorite shows.
I want it in the style of a Spielberg-esque, and that's the big difference for me. But I think that this plot is so good, and what's so crazy about it is a lot of it comes from truth.
And it's just so much fun, and it's kind of an evergreen sort of thing, where it's like, it's always going to be fun to kind of skirt the rules a little bit and do that kind of like, just like crazy escapism. And even when he's not running away and like dodging things, like you can still make it interesting. Like we were saying with like, when you turn it into a TV show, it becomes that sort of like fun.
Sorry, I just thought of an important question to ask Cody. We keep going, my bad.
No, I'm just saying that I feel like it's just a fun premise.
Yeah, dude, it is literally so much fun. And Cody, how confused were you by my DVD menu screen? Was it really confusing?
So
I have the Criterion for Catch Me If You Can, but I don't have the case anymore because I had a flood in my house. So like my disc is really weird and artsy. And I forgot to tell him that. So were you able to successfully turn the movie on?
Yes.
Okay,
I
good.
was. It turned on and I was like, this is like a really long preview. I was like, what is this? And it took me like a minute and a half before I was like, oh, okay, so there's no words, it's just people and you just have to click it.
So
cool.
So the idea is that at the time of this movie coming out, there was a lot of choose your own adventure DVDs, right? And Spielberg and the people who worked on this DVD, one of them being, I think Robert Meyer Burnett worked on this special features disc, but that's not the point. There's this thing where you would pick your own adventure with like these DVD games. So at the beginning of Catch Me If You Can, there's a businessman, a criminal, and like an agent, there's like three different clear male archetypes, and you're supposed to pick one, and assumingly the movie's going to be different. But the irony of the fact is that it's all the same because it's all Frank Abagnale.
Yeah.
I like that.
Very artsy DVD.
That's really cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'll show it to you sometimes. It's very cool. I really liked that. But I forgot to tell you, and I was like, oh fuck, he's gonna be so confused. But it worked out, so it's fine. But yeah, that was the question I had to ask you. But okay, back to the movie itself. So 2002. Another thing that Spielberg does is he has the best casting in all movies. He predict casted. He had Elizabeth Banks in this movie before she was big.
Mm-hmm.
He had the Nocturnal Animals.
Jennifer Gardner too.
Jennifer Gardner, but who was the other one? The one who plays Lois Lane in the Snyder Justice League. She's in Nocturnal Animals. Super fucking gigantic actress, very famous. Amy Adams.
Oh yeah, Amy
she's
Adams.
in it. There's tons of huge stars in this that weren't even huge stars yet. And then there's tons of also veteran actors. You got Martin Sheen. You have obviously fucking Tom Hanks with a stellar, very realistic performance.
And that's
as Hanratty. Like he is so real in this movie.
And I think, was this movie like just shortly after What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Because like it was Leo did What's Eating Gilbert Grape, Titanic. I think he did that Romeo and Juliet, and then I think it was this. So he was like,
I think Gilbert Grape was a little ways before this. I think there was some stuff in between, but yeah, I get what you're saying. He was no, this was
it's
like
young Leo.
This is
like
the first time,
but it's
so when Titanic came out, it was his first time, in my opinion, in like a big, great movie, and then this is the first time, in my opinion, one of the first times at least, where he gives that great performance that we've seen from him time and time again since. And I honestly think that it's because of Steven Spielberg's direction that kind of like took Leo from being like the pretty boy frontman to being like an artistic like actor. And he's kind of doing the same thing for Ansel right now, where he's kind of taking a guy who is popular, but not for the reasons of like the wealth of his acting, but more for, you know, the look of his gorgeous face. The same thing happened with Leo. And I think that mixed with the fact that he got the bounce off of Tom fucking Hanks, this movie sharpened some skills that would later become even better performance after this. But I think it's important to note that this was like his first outing for me where I was like, that guy could be a GOAT. He has the capability of being an incredible actor, because this whole movie rides on whether you find him likable or not, because he does a lot of shitty things and you have to still like him through all of it.
Yeah.
But you almost like him even more for it. Yeah. There's something about you wanting him to get away.
Yeah. And that's, I think it's the build up around the whole thing just kind of makes everything that he does have these, like, even though it's just like, it's one person potentially going to jail, but the stakes feel so ridiculously high because everything that it's like, shit just works out for this guy, and it's like, is his luck gonna run out? Is this gonna be where he fucks it up? And then you watch the plan come together. Like, easily one of my favorite fucking things that he does is when he's like about to get caught and he's like, I've got to find a way through this airport. He goes in, recruits a bunch of fucking high school girls just to be like, hey, walk around me. Everybody's going to be looking at you, not looking at me. He gets on that fucking plane.
And he tells them that they're able to join some sort of like early treatment into being a flight attendant, like the schooling shit, and do this tour with him. Really smart and crazy way to do the scene in general, just to like have that build up where he goes to the school and he's like, and Janet Summers from that. It's really fucking funny. That's one thing I really loved about it, was just like all of his hijinks. And like, make no mistake though, he is a bit of a sociopath. I mean, like,
oh, absolutely.
And I think that people know that about him, and that's part of what made him so good at his job and also made this movie so captivating. But I always get a little afraid when people on the internet share Catch Me If You Can, and they share the, like, you know, the substitute teacher scene and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, that's totally me. I'm like, I fucking hope not. Yeah. Like, I love the character and all, but like, I don't want people like this to be real. And the fact is they are. But he's more charming, and his situation's so much more dramatic and horrible that like you can kind of empathize. And like in the very opening scene, you see him go into this, like his father's trying to get him a suit so he looks like an official driver. And his father's like, we're going to a funeral, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you see where he's getting this from. You see him learning in real time how to be this way. And, you know, in a lot of ways, it's like, it's a sins of the father kind of story. And
which one of the great things that Steven Spielberg actually does in this, Frank William Agnelli, like the actual guy,
he's in it.
He's in it, but
it's
also
really funny.
He said that like if it was to follow the true story of his life, he never saw his father again after he left. But Steven Spielberg wanted to show that kind of like this is still a child we're talking about. Yeah. He's supposed to be between 16 and 19 through the movie.
Yeah.
And he keeps meeting his father, and his father initially starts as proud, and then he becomes like saddened with him. And then he's like, hey, like, you've got to live your life. He's like, you made the government scared of you. Like, you've done what only a few people can think of, but you're unhappy now. Where are you going to run to, Frank?
Yeah.
He literally like shouts after him as he's walking out the bar. Where are you going tonight, Frank? Where? Somewhere beautiful? I hope you're going to have a great time. He's wishing his son off. And he's like, I've seen what I have created in you. And I think that Steven Spielberg did that in a really cool way where it's like life didn't necessarily give Frank William Abagnale Jr. the chance to have that experience. And Steven Spielberg was like, how cathartic would this be to just get to actually watch, like, the whole time you're going through, he's fucking bagging supermodels. He's becoming a doctor just because he's like, hey, this cute braces girl is like, I like her. He's just like doing things because he's like, I'm just doing things and I'm cool and I'm suave and it's fine. And then you get these moments where like he's like shaking to pour the water when he's talking with Carl Hanratty, and he's like you see these little breaks where he's nervous, and it's like, this guy is a kid. Like he's just trying to get through, and I love watching Spielberg kind of bring that out of him.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the other things that I think Spielberg, well, first off, this is actually important. Did it win Best Picture? Could somebody find that out for me? Did Catch Me If You Can win Best Picture?
I don't know.
Because let me tell you something. There was a picture that did win Best Picture, and it's called Slumdog Millionaire. And Slumdog Millionaire ripped off the beginning of this film like I've never seen.
Oh, really?
It is like so similar of a scene and shot composition where, okay, Slumdog Millionaire's entire story, they basically, like, in the way that the movie kind of makes it seem like, oh, we're going to get all of this perspective and shit from Leo on this game show. That's not what happens. Things are told in a little bit different of a way.
Yeah.
Slumdog Millionaire is you find out the entire story while he's playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
So,
okay.
And it's very much ripped. And I think that it's kind of bullshit, but it's cool. I love Slumdog Millionaire and all. But if that didn't win and Slumdog did for its year, it seems kind of like bullshit because one is clearly derivative of the other. Anyway, what?
So Christopher Walken was nominated as Best Supporting Actor, and then John Williams was up for Best Original Score.
John Williams, but that's it?
Yeah. That's the only thing.
And that goes to show you how much the landscape of film can change, because if Catch Me If You Can was in this year's nominations, bro,
yeah,
it would have been a close and shut deal. But yeah, I thought it was so interesting. If you watch Slumdog Millionaire right after you watch Catch Me If You Can, you're gonna see a lot of these similar game show scenes that are really derivative in the way they're shot and the dramatic pauses they take. Clearly inspired. That doesn't mean either are bad or one's better than the other. I'm just saying it's crazy, like how influential Spielberg is to where his movie that didn't win Best Picture clearly inspired somebody to later then win Best Picture. Yeah, honestly, in a lot of ways, this movie is a little before its time. I think people like, there's a lot of things that are also very relevant to the period and feel very much like it was made in 2002. But then there's other things where you're like, wow, that was actually a more astounding than I remember it back when I saw this before. And it's not that I've changed that much. It's just things have changed that much.
So watching West Side Story during this past Oscars run and comparing it to Catch Me If You Can has been really cool, because you also see like costume designing and how it's set in the era of Pan Am, and I really love how Spielberg has been taking these moments in time and he's been doing them with like a genuine, it just feels so genuine. It's not like I'm going back and I'm doing 1960s because I want to do the 60s. It feels like, okay, I am telling a story. It just so happens to be in the 60s, and it feels like it's of that time.
The period services the story. The story doesn't service the period.
Exactly.
I think that's the best way to put it. If you look at, there's nothing wrong with Downton Abbey, right? Downton Abbey is fine, but that show is entirely what it is. At least a lot of it because of the period, and that's cool and it's really good. But this is something entirely different. And Spielberg in general does this, where he just creates such a rich world around his film that, a lot of this stuff just comes second nature. Like the validity of the characters, like the realism of it comes because of how good the writing is and how good the directing is. And I don't know. It's awesome. It's like he accidentally makes period pieces sometimes.
Yeah. Like there's nothing sadder than the scene where he's staring out the window at his little half sister that he doesn't know exists.
Oh my fucking God, dude.
Like it's so crazy how like you can just see the red in his eyes.
And the relationship he kind of merges with Frank over the years as he merges with Hanratty over the years because of all the fucking dodging in this cat and mouse game they've been playing, where they're legit buddies by the end of it. And
In
it's-
real life, I think his name is Tom Shea in real life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Literally they're best friends until he died in like 2005.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
They like started to that's how Frank William Abagnale Jr. ended up becoming like a servant of the FBI.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
and
like in the
helping
movie.
for-
Yeah.
And it's just like wild to see. I think one of my favorite things is when you see the tone shift in the movie during that, like where it stops becoming fun for Junior. For Frank, I'll just call him Frank and then just ignore the fact that
Yeah.
Christopher Walken's
Just
character's
call him
name-
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
I think
all you're
that-
seeing.
So I think that when Leo's character is like calling during that first Christmas, where he was like, "This is where I am. This is where I'm going tomorrow." Like you saw, he was like, "You can end this. Like, please, just like give me an out. I'm just a kid. I don't know what's happening. Like, give me an out." And then he doesn't take that, and then almost like Leo's character decides to almost flip that on its head. Like, I gave you everything. Now I have to run. Almost like you did this. Like, you could have stopped me. Like, please, why didn't you stop me?
I
And
mean,
he's
maybe there's some of that. I also just think like, I mean, there is a bit of cockiness to Frank too in the movie.
Yeah.
I think that some of that's true, but I also think that if he ever wanted to evade people, like it would be no problem. And I'm sure that if in real life, if the character that Hanratty's based off of, the real guy, if he had bought into bait if he had done something like that,
Yeah.
and bought into the bait and went, I don't think he would be there. Like I think that I think that he was asking to give it up, but we see based on his multiple times of running that he is afraid of the repercussions. He's afraid. He's the one dude. The one thing they ring true in the movie is this is a guy who's afraid to face uncomfortable truths.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want to deal with the fact that his parents are
His
getting
divorce,
divorced. Doesn't want to deal with the fact that his mother's moved on. He doesn't want to deal with the fact that his father's kind of like down on his luck and is probably never going to turn it around. And because he keeps running from everything, he misses out on so much. It's like, the thing with his dad in the movie, like falling down those steps, that was heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest scenes in the movie. And, man, Tom Hanks should have given him that fucking dessert. That's my final line on that. He knew that info. He should have got that fucking eclair.
Yeah. I agree. What would you rate it overall?
Me?
Yeah. Why is this like your favorite movie?
So it's got to be a 10 out of 10 just because there's not really many other things that kind of are just like I just love stories in general, whatever way those take place, whether it's a book, a TV show. Some of my favorites are video games. But that's like just in general, I just love getting to watch a story unfold, watching that character growth, that like adventure that you get to go on. And I feel like this was kind of like just truly an adventure. Like you just got to go off and just like escapism in its purest form while still saying like, hey, look at this.
And another thing this movie always gave me vibes about, it's almost like a movie you'd watch in school for information, like, like a historical reason, but like elevated.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's a 9 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10 for me for a myriad of reasons. I mean, being that it's not like one of my favorites. But I think that for it to land a 9 for me is a big deal because I don't give those out very easily either. And the one thing I'll say that really puts it above so many others is this movie is incredibly paced.
Yeah.
This is a well-paced movie where you're never bored, like ever.
I agree with that.
And you're also always waiting for that little like doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, maybe you. I don't think Cody really cared, but I love that.
As soon as I'm like watching a scene and then I hear that, just like
it's a great score. It deserves the score stuff, but it was a great score. I mean, anything with him is incredible. So
yeah,
I would say like an 8.5 for me. I really liked it. I kind of want to go back and watch it because when I first watched it, I didn't know it was based on anything real. It was after the fact that I learned that it was all a true story. So I'd be kind of interested to go in and watch it with the mindset of like, okay, what was real? What did Frank Abagnale actually say? Like, post the movie coming out that was like true or not true. I'd like to go back in and
Also-
kind of like sparse it.
There's a really cool story that actually doesn't happen in the movie, but the love interest, Brenda, she actually tries to help him escape from the plane when he lands for the extradition stuff.
Oh,
So that's like a little thing that's in the book if you read
Huh.
it, but they were just like, we can't really show this, and we already kind of like wrapped up Brenda's whole thing by getting left at the airport.
yeah.
But like that was the love of his life. I think he ended up later remarrying somebody
He did.
different, but
Yeah.
it's still like the fact that that is just a thing, that's just a further little like crazy thing that happened in his life. It's like, yeah, obviously they're going to elevate things. They're going to do things like add his father back in for more like to make it more narratively pleasing. But
Yeah.
there's also just so much crazy shit that happened in this dude's life that it's just like, what a fucking experience to get to like watch some of this unfold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Okay, so the question is, we usually do the who are we, but I like a better question for this.
Mhm.
You have there is no choice. You have to remake Catch Me If You Can. Who are you casting as each role? I'll start because it seems like you guys were fucking absolutely brain fucked by that question.
So no, because I was actually like, I was thinking about a modern one, and I was like,
Okay,
I
well,
have
who would
my
you
Frank,
cast? Tell me you're Frank. I'm dying to know.
Ansel Elgort.
That makes sense
Yeah.
given the circumstance. I don't know if he's who I'd pick. I think if I had to like pick today, I'd go with like Taron Egerton would be good.
Oh,
If you ever seen Kingsman,
interesting.
he would be good. I think that he has the comedic like candor to be able to talk to somebody and be funny and engaging, whereas Ansel like is funny and stuff and all that, but he also like he's more of a I just don't think he could get into that role.
I'd say also
if this was 10 years ago, I'd cast Shia LaBeouf. I know that sounds crazy, but I
interesting.
would.
I'd say Tom Holland. That's my other one.
Oh, I don't like that at
I
all.
feel like
Really?
Tom Holland is a safe pool for
he's
that.
he's
But
so
also-
safe. Exactly. He's
Okay.
so
Also,
safe.
Okay.
I feel like Tom Holland has the opposite problem because like they always depict Frank as like, oh, they think he's in his like late 20s to early 30s, even though he's only 16. Tom Holland perpetually
the
looks
opposite.
12.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know that he would fit because that's obviously
He can't
at
look
this-
like an adult in all these situations.
Yeah.
It has to
Yeah,
be someone
okay.
older
I can
looking.
see that.
There's that. Although he was good in The Devil All the Time and Cherry and stuff like, I think he can do a dramatic role.
I
but
loved him in Devil All the Time.
So,
but
he can
I just
totally
don't
do
think
the role.
he
But
fits.
yeah,
Like he fits the vibe of the character, but I don't think he actually works in scenarios where it's like supposed to be believable. And that's why I think like even though they did Leo in his 20s, but like he still looked a way that it was like, oh, I could believe that he's
Yeah.
younger, but I assume that he's older.
Yeah.
yeah. I think
And that's kind of hard to cast for.
I like Taron Egerton for it. Although like I really wish I could have more time to think about this, but I just came up with this question. I also like the one dude who everybody says could double as a Zac Efron, the Stranger Things guy, the Power Rangers guy. What's his name?
Oh, Dacre Montgomery.
Yeah, he could pull it off because he could
That could be
perceivably
cool.
be an adult or a child. So
Yeah.
it
Are you
makes
talking
sense.
about the mom friend?
Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah,
think.
I think- I think that would be
He'd do a good job.
So him or and then as for Handready, that oh man,
I know,
that's tough.
that's
You
who
have
I
to pick
can't
somebody.
decide.
I would maybe like if it wasn't for an age issue, there's so many great choices because I
Well,
would be like
also, you got to remember the character of Carl Hanratty is entirely made up for the movie because he's actually a real person. So he's a collection of multiple other.
yeah, I would,
Yeah,
but I want to
he's a few
keep that
agents.
character
Yeah.
in this remake. You know what I mean?
no, and I get it, but I also don't want to be bogged down by exactly how Tom Hanks played him.
Well,
because then
okay.
we're just
No,
recasting
for
it
sure. No,
for
but he
Tom
needs to
Hanks.
have a level of authority, but also have a level, in my opinion, of a youthful stride. He can't be over 40 because he's literally chasing this young man
Yeah.
across the country.
Yeah.
Like otherwise, I'd be like Michael Keaton, but I can't make it somebody that old. So I don't know. That one's a bit tougher. It's got to be somebody who is like genuinely like charismatic. If the oddball chance, like the wild chance that you could make something good out of would be Paul Rudd, but nobody would ever cast him as that role
Yeah.
because he does
Oh.
great dramatic performances and he can be also incredibly funny.
I actually really like that.
He'd be like the oddball chance out. I don't think I mean, I don't think people would ever go for it, but I think he could do it.
I think I'd want a woman.
That's crazy. That's a crazy choice
Because I feel like we've already seen it with his relationship,
and
with
it
his
is a
father.
fictional character. I mean,
and I would like to see it flipped on his head to kind of deal with his mommy issues.
maybe that's why he calls this person, because he like is his surrogate mother, because his mother doesn't care really anymore.
Exactly.
But then I feel like that gives it a weird. Well, it kind of already has the weird sexual tension to it. But
does it?
We'll go ahead.
I think so too.
Yeah, this movie's a little gay.
I think these dudes are gay, and I wasn't gonna say that because I didn't want to be wrong, but these dudes come off gay, like in a good way. But there is no bad way, but you know what I'm saying.
I'd almost say toxically so, because it's like they're feeding into each other. Like Carl needs the chase, and
I can see it from his
Frank
point of view.
Needs a
100%.
father figure. Like Frank needs some stability in his life.
Frank wants a big, strong man to take care of him.
Basically,
I don't know if I agree with that, but okay.
That's not so much.
I mean, that's
to
your
take
opinion.
not so much
allowed.
to take care of him, but just like this dude is constantly running around trying to find stability.
He wants someone to step in and tell him it's going to be.
I know who I'd get hand ready. I'd get Giancarlo Esposito. He played Gus Fring in Breaking Bad.
Oh my shit, that would be so fucking good.
I don't know
I
who that
really
is.
like that.
He's also my choice. I want him to play Magneto.
Like
what else is
stuff.
he in?
He's in a ton of stuff. He was in Mandalorian. That's a big one. He was like a real dramatic actor for a while, and then he got Breaking Bad, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, Giancarlo Esposito, got to put him in everything." He's really good. I'll show you a compilation of his acting. And a person of color to switch it up a little bit as well. So
I love that.
And he is a great performer. Yeah, I think he would be good. And then you could just really throw caution to the wind, just be like, let's get you Aaron Paul to play the other guy. No. But I think I would go with like a Taron Egerton and a Giancarlo Esposito. And then for the father of
I've
Frank,
been thinking about the father this whole time, and I'm just like,
the father of Frank, I would. Well, you know what? You could. Oh, I fucking got this, bro. Hear me out. All right, give me 1 second. You guys discuss some of your ideas. I got to pull up these cast members so you understand what I'm saying.
Who did we say for Frank?
I like Dacre Montgomery. Now that he said it, I really like it.
I like Taron Egerton as well. I think he's really talented and can totally do the role, and he always looks so young.
I think Ansel Elgort could also do a good job, but that's just me.
What's this fucking kid's name?
I don't know. You could do Timothy Chalamet. I was like, he's
Timothy Chalamet. No, I'm sick of him.
Same. I just watched Lady Bird for the first time yesterday.
The kid who played. Do you guys watch Cobra Kai at all?
Oh, you're talking about the main kid?
No, not the main kid. No, the kid.
I was gonna be like, no,
not at all. Hold on 1 second. I'll figure this shit out. All right.
Okay.
He's a really good actor. He's new and up and coming. It doesn't say who he's played by. Why does it not say that? Okay. I'm just gonna write actor.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Like, I'm legitimately curious.
Okay, Tanner Buchanan. Okay, here's Tanner Buchanan. Right. This is what he looks like. Okay.
You want him to play Frank?
I want him to play Frank, and I want Leo to play his father.
Let me see.
That would be cool.
Let me see.
I think that would be really.
He looks like a young Leonardo DiCaprio. That's what everybody says.
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
Why don't you like him?
I don't think he looks like Leo.
You don't think he looks anything like Leo at all?
I think they both have blue eyes.
They literally have the same facial structure.
I don't see it.
It's kind of that like.
And by the way, this is not something that I said. This is something that is said about this actor.
I don't see it, but that's okay. That's okay.
Regardless, I would love to see Leo have some sort of cameo in a big way, and I don't think that Hanratty would be a good character for him to play. So
no,
I agree.
But I'm the one thing I'm locked in on is absolutely Esposito playing.
Yeah,
he could play Brenda's dad.
He could play the guy that fucked Frank's wife. The fucking.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
That would be really good for Leo.
That'd be good.
Be really good for him.
He could play Jennifer Gardner.
Okay. I love that.
But yeah. So I think that obviously they shouldn't remake it clearly, but it'd be fun to have like a good fan cast, or like maybe if somebody could shoot like a fan scene, it'd be fun to see different actors interpret these characters because they're so rich.
And I feel like it's such a great film that it's just fun to do things with. the same way like when they when quarantine first started and a bunch of like very famous actors got together and read Princess Bride's script. Like it's just a fun, weird little romp that you can just go on.
Would you just have John Williams in the group chat in like his keyboard really fast? He would totally do it.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I think that's a wrap on that.
Anything you want to plug?
Yeah, check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Logan Tyler. You can check out my series on there, Average Joe Interviews, where I interview everyday people because I've interviewed famous people and they're very boring. And everyday people are far more interesting. It's also available on all podcast platforms. So you just look at Average Joe Interviews with Logan Tyler for that. And on that Logan Tyler channel, there's tons of extra content like clips and shit like that. So check that out.
Nice.
I have no plugs, so
he's going to talk about Team Hyperfang, which is
Team Hyperfang is a Nuzlocke Pokemon series that also has other things. I don't know. What do you think? I guess watch your content.
He doesn't.
Why do we even have him on here? He doesn't watch our content.
Well, you don't watch content you're in.
Why?
I don't know.
I actually understand.
I feel like that it feels like a weird vanity thing. I don't know. And like, it's hard watching things that your buddies made.
You better not watch yours.
I don't agree with that. I think you can watch what other people are in, but anyway.
Yeah, he's saying he can't even watch his friends.
Yeah, he's like, you guys are so shit that I just can't look at you.
Well, no, I hear your guys' voice and I'm like, oh, I'm there in the room. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But my brain is like, those are your buddies. Talk with them. And I'm like, you fucking idiot. That's
called a parasocial relationship.
Yeah. Don't stalk me, please.
And you can don't stalk me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/CLBlueOfficial. I make Critical Role content every Saturday, and I have an album out. It's called Scorpio. You can listen to it now on Spotify and stuff.
Guys, thank you so much. It's been a real good time. What's a famous quote from the movie? Name it really fast.
Catch me if you can.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Go fuck yourself.